Everyone, welcome to another episode of Daily Energy. I'm your host, Aurea Eden. The day is Ari Janu T20 X Deson. It is the 26th day of January. The energy today is one that brings in transition. It brings in transition. It brings in the completion of a cycle. It brings in a buildup of karma. It brings in transitions into the spirit. It brings in endings and beginnings. It brings in conception and birth. So we're going to see more about this coming in as we go through the day between today and tomorrow. Now, I'll go more into those things that I mentioned. But just know that today is the day to where there's going to be a lot of motivation, a lot of leadership, because it's a Sunday, right? But not just because it's a Sunday, but because this is the day to where a lot of people are going to want to get the last word. So there's going to be a lot of confrontation energy, a lot of back and forth, a lot of kind of like debating. And you know what I'm going to say, that if you debate, it's a good thing as long as you talk, a lot of other one talk, and y'all come to a common ground. But if you don't come to a common ground, then both of you just going at each other and you're not solving a problem. And that's the problem with the world. It's like ego runs amok. And it's like, I don't like what you did because I don't like you. And I don't care if what you did helps the world. I don't care if what you did can solve problems. I don't like you. And because I don't like you, I'm going to change everything you did. Just because I don't care what it does to the people. You see, that's the type of mentality today. It's like my way or the highway type of mentality. But that type of mentality, that type of going back and forth doesn't resolve situation. It doesn't solve problems. It adds on to them. And that's why we don't progress as a people. That's why we don't progress as a nation. Is because there's all this egotistical behavior, all this back and forth with lack of understanding, with lack of wisdom, with lack of knowledge. Because it's my way or the highway. And I don't care what you say to these type of people. Once they get their mindset on something, it's set. And that's so unfortunate for its constituents. It's so unfortunate. Because a people are oppressed. And everybody else seems to be making somewhat of progress. But that organization, that family, that nation is not able to make progress because there's a lot of barking and not a lot of sitting and listening. So that's the energy that we have today. People wanting to get the last word. Now, this is a day to where there's going to be, we may see something coming in about proof. Because today is one of those to where people try to prove something, and like they have something to prove, and they may be trying to prove their point, as I will likely be trying to prove my point later on today, if I can get this together in a way that will help you understand where I be's coming from at times. So this day is bringing in the strong-willed. Now, having a will is good. Now, I did my numerology, and that's the thing that I lack, is the will. And well, I did at some point. I lacked the will because I didn't have a plan. So it's like I lacked the will because it's not about my will, it's about whose will. It's about my Father's will. It's about Father's will being done. So for those of you who are here to minister, to prophesy, to lead, sometimes you will lack your will so that God's will take precedence in your life. Because the strong-willed can sometimes be problematic to progress because it's stubborn. It's a stubborn energy. And I don't know about you, but I can be a little bit stubborn at times too. But have you really talked to somebody who was really, really stubborn before and they were set in their ways? This is why I love history, but sometimes history and tradition, it gets in the way of progress because you hear about something that was done back then, and you think that it should always be done that way. Some stuff, yes, you want to carry on from your ancestors, but some of that stuff was no. It wasn't there. It wasn't put there for you to carry it on. It was put there for you to remember, so to speak. Some of the things you're trying to continue to do that your ancestors did is not going to work. Take the work ethic. Take the mindset of striving for better and striving for more. But don't take the hatred. Don't take the greed. Don't take the it's my way or the highway type mentality, because it's my way or the highway type mentality is not going to work in this day and time. The only thing that's going to really work for us as a whole in this day and time is wisdom, knowledge, understanding, coming together, solving problems, ascending, going to new heights in a spiritual sense. That's two sides coming together to make one, being married together as a whole. Trying to figure out, trying to understand, because right now you might say, oh, I can't stand so-and-so. They get on my nerves. I can't even stand to be in the same room with them. And this type of thing is what you're saying is not, I can't stand them. You're saying, I don't understand them, because we can't stand the things that we don't understand. And sometimes the things that you can't stand in somebody else is the very thing that you can't stand in yourself. And we are all one and all interconnected, although others may try to get you to believe otherwise. And so because we're one and interconnected, by getting to understanding them, you will get to understand yourself a lot better. Or the opposite around, getting to understand yourself, you will get to understand them a lot better. Getting to know yourself. See, a lot of people are passing judgments on other people, but they don't even know who they are. So if you don't know who you really, really are, how are you going to pass judgment on somebody else? You may say that they're living in sin, but because you don't know who you are, you don't know where you're really standing. And because you don't know where you're really standing, you might actually be the one living in sin. Because many people, they listen to man And they don't know yet the voice of my Father, God. Okay? So that's what the day's energy brings in. My way or the highway type of situation. Non-compromise. Okay? So there's going to be, people are going to be opinionated. They're going to be inflexible, and they're going to basically be, this is going to feel like a dictatorship today. A dictatorship. And so not a lot of progress here when that happens. But just ride the wave. Ride the wave. That's ride the wave. But see, some of us, we're going to divide the house. We're going to divide the house, which means this is when fighting takes place, because this side over here is just doing too much and not enough. They doing too much and not enough. They doing too much wicked and not enough good. And so the other side over here, they want to do good. Okay? But at the same time, you know that what the saying says is Satan cannot rebuke Satan. A house divided will not stand. So that's what I mean when I say divide the house. I'm not going to be content with your evil. I'm not going to be content with your wickedness. And many of us are not going to be content with that. And it's going to cause a rising up of warriors if this continues on. And then they're going to seek to go to war with each other, and it's going to divide the house. And that's what happened. There was a war, and it divided the house, and this side went to this side went to the other side. But what you don't realize is that we're all one, we're all interconnected, we're all family. We don't all think the same, because everyone has their own minds. But we have to come to some kind of common ground with a moral compass, with our moral compass, a common ground. But even once we get to that common ground, we must know that each generation that is born is going to require some kind of shifting in that common ground. Even earth doesn't stay the same way. Even earth shifts and changes. And I know what they say. They say, God changes not. But I'm going to say that conversation for another day. But God changes not. But listen, prayer can change some things. He might not change the form, but if Father has a mind, I can tell you now, sometimes he changes his mind. He can change his mind about a thing if people change their ways. You change your actions, he can change his mind. And he demonstrated that with Nineveh. Right? So I don't know if it was Elijah. I don't remember who went, but it said that there was a people, and I got to speak in a biblical sense for those who are biblically minded to understand. But for those in Nineveh who were, I guess you could call it, doing whatever they were doing at that time, that was adverse to the will of God, so it was said, allegedly, it said that he sought to destroy that place, but he changed his mind. You could say the same thing, that if it was Father that actually said, hey, go do this to that, but come to find out there was a ram in the bush. So His form doesn't change. He's always going to be God. But God does change his mind. He does change his mind. He can change his mind based on your actions, based on what you do, based on the prayers that he hears. I say this because at one point in time, I was in the van and I had a vision. And then I ended up seeing this vision come to play in the same situation that I was in the same van, in the same situation. And I just began to pray. And I just began to pray a covering of protection. See, I wasn't worried about myself because I know I'm going to be okay. I know I'm going to be okay. But I was worried about those that was with me. So I began to pray and I began to put a hedge of protection on them. And I began to cover them with my words. And what I saw happened, the way I saw it happen, the only thing was instead of hitting the other van, it was just like it just slightly went to the side. And so the wreck was avoided. You see, so God does change his mind when you change your ways, when you change your actions. Effort makes the ordinary extraordinary. Effort brings in miracles. Actions bring in miracle. The actions that are beneficial to the kingdom. So that's how you can change your life, by changing your ways. That's why we have this moral compass. It's like Jamie Foxx talked about a dream that he had in his show that he had on Netflix, okay, that he has on Netflix. And he talked about he saw himself at some point in time in hell, or what he perceived to be hell was hell. And he was like, wait a minute. And I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say it like this. But he's like, I don't want this to happen. See, sometimes Father will give you a vision of what's going to happen before it happens. And sometimes it's something that you can't change. Excuse me. But sometimes it's something that you can change with your actions. He would say, if you continue to do this, this is what's going to happen. A lot of you have that same story. A lot of you have that testimony that if you didn't change your ways, and if you wasn't out there on them streets, in them streets, selling drugs, pimping and prostituting, stealing, disobeying your mothers and your fathers, fighting, being in gangs. If you were not doing that, if you would have not changed from doing that, you would have quickly transitioned into the spirit before it was time. Sometimes people go before it's time. Sometimes it wasn't meant for them to go at that time. And so Father has to make adjustments. So what you don't understand when he says, I am the Lord, I change it not. What you don't know is that you can look at him, for those of you who know like I know, and have seen like I've seen. He's indeed the same. You can indeed identify him, for those of you who know like I know. But which one are you talking about? Because there's three working together as one. Okay. So anywho, I went on that tangent. Yes, I did. Let the Spirit lead you. Okay. Today, this is the day. Let the Spirit lead you. Okay. All right. So today is the day of completion. But some of the day proves to be cold and cruel as many loved ones transition into the spirit world. Okay, so between today and tomorrow, okay, this started a few days ago and it begins to build up. And then today is like the last, I don't want to say it's the last day, but this is the day of the masses. There's a lot of transitions into the spirit today. So hearts go out to you at this time. Those of you who have to lay a loved one to rest that time. For some of you, go spend time with your loved ones after you get out of church or after you get home, get off of work. Go spend time with your elders. Because this is a transitioning of the elders. Okay? And that's what I'm feeling today. But there's going to be more, okay, than just the elders. But it's a mass elder transition. So it's also a day indicating awards. And so I'm going to tell you, your loved ones are being awarded to go where they want to go, do what they want to do. They're being awarded, some of them, a new life because they completed their assignment. And so when they come back next time, you know what they're going to come back as? They're going to come back better than before. Because where you pass away, whatever phase you pass away on, that's the phase you return on. You see? So the progress that they made in life, as long as you learn these lessons, you go to the next phase. So for a lot of your loved ones, it's a reward. It's an advancement. And they'll come back as someone you will meet. They'll come back as someone you know. Okay, so hearts go out to you. So new beginnings in disguise. Endings are new beginnings in disguise. Tomorrow is a new beginning. So today is also going to be a good day for you to go get your resources for the week. Go gather your resources for the week. You got animals, get your animal feed if you can't afford it. Go, get the tools that you need, get the cleaning supplies, go to the store, get the food, whatever you can afford to do today. If you can't do it today because you don't have the resources, don't worry about it. You'll still be able to manage. It's just a good day to do those things. So I'm also getting it's a day to feed your spirit. Feed your spirit, as it's going to be a lot of motivation out there. It's not going to be all going to be that back and forth. We're going to hear about it later, though. We're going to hear about it later. But it's not going to all be that back and forth type of thing. So all of your leaders are not going to say it's my way or the highway. But to make the best of the day, we must be willing to compromise, consider, listen, and cope. To make the best of the day, we must be willing to compromise, consider, listen, and cope. So that's what I'm getting. Now the predictions today, it's a lot of them. Okay, and I'm going to try to go through these as best I can. So I'm getting something about crimson, red, and purple. The energy that says, do this in remembrance of me. That might be the energy today, but I'm also getting scarlet. And I don't know, do you remember The Scarlet Letter? Did y'all ever watch that movie? The Scarlet Letter? And basically, if you haven't watched it, this is one of those, what was that, Crime and Punishment? No, it just was The Scarlet Letter. Okay, it was one of those movies. And it's actually based on a book, I believe. And this woman, she was, I'm going to say, deemed to be a sinner. And so she had to walk around with the Scarlet Letter. And so basically that caused people to treat her a certain way. Let's just say that. And so, anywho, that's a movie to go watch. Maybe that movie is airing today. I don't know. But something significant about Scarlett. But here's the thing, it might be Scarlett Johansson or another celebrity named Scarlett, or somebody named Scarlett that we may see significant in the news. I'm getting some kind of embarrassment or blushing, like red blushing, embarrassment. So this could be like something happens that make Scarlett Johansson blush, okay, or something. But I'm also getting mini skirts. So this is either pink, Scarlett Johansson, Scarlett, or the both. Okay, I'm also getting awards. So maybe they get an award. Okay, can't take that off the table as well, because that energy is here. But something coming in about something like a mini skirt and blushing, that type of thing. And other than pink and scarlet, those two things, I don't know what's coming up with that, but I put pink set a new trend with fashion. Scarlet turns red from embarrassment. It could be the opposite, but I'm just going to go with it and say that's my prediction. Mass transitions into the spirit world. Mass conceptions and birth. Talks about children and conception. So, and when I say conception, this might be contraception. This might be, we'll hear more talks in the news over the next 1 to 3 days about birth control. Okay. And anything that I predict to you is over the next 1 to 3 days. Okay. Other than the daily energy, that's really today. Okay. But the one that I talked about before. So I get sports highlights, news on baseball and baseball minors and football. Okay. So something coming in about that being highlighted. I don't know if the Super Bowl has already occurred. I just remember when I was younger, it always occurred on my birthday. So maybe this is Super Bowl talk we have coming up. More on education, closures, openings. Schools are in trouble. And so we may hear more of news about ways to protect students from mass shooters. I don't know about you, but child, would I send my child? Absolutely not. Microprocessors, and technology. We'll hear more about microprocessors, technology. I'm getting microchips. So we're going to hear more news about microchips and bitcoins, because I'm also getting coins. So I'm thinking it's bitcoins. I mean, back in I want to say 2020, not 2024, or earlier on in the year, in the month, I said something about new coins, like new coins. And so it could be that, but I don't think so. I think it's bitcoins. So this could be Bitcoin stocks. I am picking up on a lot of stock movement today. Well, the stock market's supposed to be closed today, but there are some stocks to watch out for. But legal responsibilities. Your legal responsibilities. I'm getting something coming in about legal responsibilities. So this legal responsibility leads me to think that someone has a legal responsibility and they may be trying to get out of that legal responsibility, trying to get out of that duty or something along those lines. A day of planning. Not planting. A day for tubers, corms, and rhizomes. So this is, I'm getting like, when it shows up in the energy, it's almost saying this is going to be a good day for you to get your tubers ready and get them in the ground so that you can have your spring and summer flowers. So that's what they're highlighting here to me. is I'm getting like a lot of agricultural activity, tubers, corms, rhizomes, corn, wheat, grain. I'm picking up on a lot of that type of energy activity here going on, cuttings, grafts, slips. So slips, sweet potato slips. Now, sweet potatoes don't like cold weather. Sweet potatoes don't like the cold weather, but if you can get your slips ready. You can get your slips ready at the least, but it's going to need some warmth because they do not like the cold weather. But here's the thing. You plant a sweet potato one time and this, or a potato, sweet potatoes. You plant a sweet potato one time and this is the gift that keeps on giving. I love gifts that keep on giving. You plant that sweet potato and you just go take as you need. That's what I used to do when I was in California. I took what I need. Like I every day that I wanted a sweet potato, I just went out there and I just dug up a sweet potato. And the rest of them, they'll just keep coming and producing more and more sweet potatoes. You see? Take what you need and at least leave one as a seed, okay? Because they'll come back the next year if they don't rot in the ground. That means if they don't get too much and not enough. They don't like that soggy, wet soil for too long, okay? But that's another thing to talk about on another day. More criminals and offenders and villains today, specifically juveniles, because as I say, there's a lot of transitions. And so these villains and criminals are the ones causing this transition to take place for some people. I see talks about something small and micro. I told you about that. That could be the microchips. There will be big attention on people focusing on the small stuff, but don't sweat it. There will be a smell over the next 1 to 3 days. So you may smell stuff and be like, what is that smell? Okay. Something about cereal, wheat, and oats. I think it's to be planted, but we may hear something coming in the news about grain, cereal, wheat, and oats. Pain in toes and feet. So more cases about frostbite and gangrene. A command to execute. So there might be an increase in executions, criminal executions, or a command to execute something that has been put off for quite some time. You might see that command to go ahead and execute that. Devotion and memories of icons. So I don't know. It kind of feels like First Sunday to me, but I don't know. But that's when I get scarlet and I got memories, devotion of icons, I don't know. But something unusual will happen today. And this could be someone saying that they saw an icon. This could also be a meteor. And I said today, but I mean over the next 1 to 3 days. But there's sightings, okay? I tell you, supernatural sightings of aliens. I'm going to tell you. There'll be some strange activity happening around my house. And I know it. Okay, planes are not planes. I mean, stars that are not stars be moving around my house. And I hear like large ships all the time. Okay, so do I believe in aliens? Do I believe aliens exist? Oh, absolutely. One of the things that I saw when my dad transitioned into the spirit was before he transitioned, and I saw him go into the wheat field. I didn't see him into the wheat field until later. Before I saw him standing like a beautiful warrior of Kemet or wherever. That's just what it looked like. Before I saw him standing like that in that field with that robe on, I saw him go up into a spaceship. And the reason why I say that is because I got to see him go and I got to walk with him to the other side. So he didn't transition in alone. I was there with him, and I saw it all. I saw what he ate before he passed on. I saw the last person that came into the room, this Hispanic guy that was wearing black and a black and green scrub. I saw that my dad had money on the table beside him with the watch, and he was thinking that he didn't trust that man. So I saw my dad go, but I saw him go up into a spaceship as well. So y'all think Farrakhan is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs sometimes, huh? But I'm telling you that Farrakhan does not stand alone. And what a lot of stuff that he has seen and a lot of stuff that he has said, I also have seen. And I can also say that these spaceships are real. And the will is a real will. And can't nobody that thinks they're going to do something about it can do something about it. Too advanced. Okay? And so I hear a lot of that activity going on in the sky. You might have been seeing that more, but it could be meteor activity. But something unusual is going to happen today. Supernatural sightings was yesterday. Supernatural sightings today. Descendants of a notable family that's highlighted today. Descendants of a notable family. So we may hear something about royalty or royal situation. Okay. But now look, I told y'all I was going to share something with you today concerning the Levitical priests, right? And tying all those dots, and I still may do that today. But at the least I'll share this video with you, but I still may do that today. But I when you say stuff like that, you're going to have to like spell it out to where you can't dissect that thing and make it be this or that. It's just what it is. And so that's what I like to do, because you know you're gonna have those that say it's my way or the highway, and she lying. And I want you to know that I'm not lying. Everybody can't say the same thing. Everybody can't be saying the same thing and seeing the same thing and experiencing the same thing. And the only ones that's saying different are the ones that have their own agenda. My agenda is my Father's agenda. My agenda is God's agenda and God's agenda only. My agenda is concerning the kingdom and the kingdom only. That the kingdom may come and my Father's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Okay? So this is that we may have it. Okay? So as above, so below. And when you know like I know that I know, then you know what that really means. Then you know what that really means. Okay? So contempt, disdain, mockery. So be cautious of who you talk about. But I can't tell you this. I can't tell you this but so many times. But some people just got to mess around and find out. Put your mouth on the right one. Because you put your mouth on the wrong one. Can't save you from that, my friend. Don't look down your nose at people. Because like I told you before, the same thing they're going through, you could be going through. Because what I tell you before things kicked off hot is that you're only one experience away from the reality of their life being the reality of your life. So that's why you should be considerate of others. And the people that you talk about now are sometimes are going to be the same people that you try to be smiling in their face later. Did you see that one? I guess that was a reunion with Cardi B, and she was on there, and she was just looking out in the audience. She was talking to the crowd. She was like, what are you here for? Why are you here? And she said, you said I was never going to be nothing, but look at you. She said, look at you. Yeah, so and so. But she said, look at you. Now you're watching me. You see? That type of thing actually happens. Look at you. You said I wasn't never going to be nothing, but look at you now. Now you're watching me. You talked about me, but now you're watching me. But for those of us who are striving for perfection and righteousness, which is perfection and righteousness, the only way to become righteous is to get balanced. To accept the light and the dark, the shadow sides of yourself and the light side of yourself coming together to still produce something edifying to the kingdom. So we got Sonic. So something coming in about Sonic. This could be a Sonic Boom, Sonic Blast, Sonic. It could be the company Sonic. Something to watch with the Sonic stock. Okay, watch the Sonic stock. If you got Sonic stock, watch the Sonic stock. Something coming up. If there's stock that has something to do with trees and timber, watch that stock. But I'm getting about Sonic. It like literally spelled out Sonic. So Sonic. What Sonic? I don't know. But Sonic. So we're going to hear news over the next 1 to 3 days about Sonic. And I hope it's good news, because I live in a small town where pretty much all I got to eat is a Dairy Queen and a Sonic if I wanted to eat it. But now that I don't eat meat, that's a lie. Now that I'm pescatarian and I only eat fish, yeah, that don't bother me so much. But child, I'm getting appliance and device. We're going to see introduction of new devices. Maybe something discovered about the microchips in these devices, or something. Ion is another stock to watch if they have a stock, if they're a publicly traded company. Ion, you know, the hair care company. I'm getting something about Ion. I think it's ION. So that's something else that you want to watch out, and we might hear something in the news about this company over the next 1 to 3 days, or something having to do with Ion. Okay. A crime show. We'll hear about something about a crime show in the news, or something. I'm just getting a crime show. Microphone, music, and singing. Of course, we'll hear about that. Moccasin is coming in. So if you stay in a warm climate, watch where you step. That type of thing. Naked and Afraid type of situation going on here. That is like one of my shows. I love these survival shows. I watch a lot of Naked and Afraid and the Rainies. Or is it the Rainies or the Rainers? The Rainies, Homestead Rescue. I love that show. I love that show. Can you come rescue my home? Can you come rescue my homestead? Cause homestead, I need my homestead rescued. Okay. I'm getting something about the heart and the spine. So we'll see more heart attacks, news about heart attacks, or more findings about heart, spine. Nominations for honor and awards, etc., to a legend. So some legend finally get their flowers, finally get their roses. We'll see that come in the news over the next 1 to 3 days. News on outer space, so we may hear something about NASA, some NASA findings or something along those lines. Nori. If Nori is a brand, you may hear something about that. Watch that stock. Edible seaweed. Edible seaweed is Nori, but it could be somebody by the name of Nori. Now, I'm getting spores, so there's going to be a lot of spore activity. So this could be allergies or some kind of growth in any of these products that I mentioned. I told you. I mean, no, I'm not going to keep saying that, because I don't want what I say to mess with their sales. Is if I could. I don't want y'all to. Well, yeah, I gotta say it. Okay, they found bacteria or something in Fabuloso, because I gotta keep you up to date. They found bacteria in Fabuloso, and they found and the people that was growing some weed in bat poop, they passed on. So if you smoke weed and you use Fabuloso, these are some things to watch out for. Okay, make sure you're looking at what's being recalled. We had some cold and cough medicine being recalled from Costco at like, what was that, a couple of weeks ago. So you want to actually stay up to date on this, because the whole purpose of this daily energy video is to keep you safe and help you to maximize your energy and direct that energy in to a place to where you can really get the most benefits from it. It'll help you adjust and adapt